Hi folks, it's Mark here, aka Sorare Contender, back with the first video. I think it's been 6 months since I did one, so about time I dusted off the microphone and the camera and got back to talking about Sorare. Lots of negativity around at the moment, but you won't get any of that from me. I'm really enjoying Sorare, probably as much as I ever have done. So going to try and get back to recording a video once a week, probably on Wednesdays. But during this international break, I'm going to try and get a few videos out. This first one will be a gallery update. I'll show you where I'm at and what I'm focusing on. Obviously, very much contender focus, but I do have a couple of Premier League teams, which I'll show you as well. Then sometime next week, I'm going to do a watch list video. I keep a watch list on the Sorare Data website, so I'll go through those players who are on my radar. And also next week, a video on lineup building for the next European weekend of action. So yeah, if you're new here, welcome. Hope you enjoy the video. I've been, as you can see there, I just had my 2-year Sorare anniversary. I joined on the 19th of October 2022, which was about 2 months, 3 months before the Winter World Cup. And my gallery has gone through a lot of change since then. And I feel like now, only now, am I at a point to really start to compete in the contender division, both in season and in classic. So I did manage to get my first win on the platform back in August. In season, it was only Division 4, but I did get a tier 1, which was the goalkeeper from Hanover, Zieler, who I sold and I regretted selling, and I've ended up bringing him back in recently because he's been performing really well. So what I'll show you is the where I'm at in the divisions, and then I'll get into the cards that I've got in the gallery at the moment. So if I jump in here and I look ahead to the next important game week, which is game week 29, November 22nd to 26th. So I'll talk about the Premier League teams later. I've got 3 limited in-season Premier League teams, just kind of as a bit of a side hobby, but contender is very much my focus. So lucky enough, of my 6 contender teams, I've got 5 Division 1 entries for the next big game week. So we've got 2 in-season Division 1 lineups. I've got 1 stuck in Division 4, Leftovers FC, because I throw my leftover players in there every week, and it's been stuck in Division 4 for way too long. So I probably need to prioritise that a bit more and get that up towards Division 2 and Division 1. And then Classic, lucky enough to have 3 Division 1 Classic teams as well. So we're in a good position, 10 or 11 game weeks into the season. My gallery feels like it's in a stronger position than it's ever been before. I'm not going to be putting any more funds into the platform, so whatever I've got now, I'm going to be working with, through selling cards and hopefully winning rewards and stuff like that. So yeah, feels like a good time to get the videos back, and hopefully you'll join me on this journey for the rest of this season. So let's look at the gallery. Now, what I've done is, for the purpose of the video, I have organized things into in-season and classic. So I'm just going to sort these by highest average score. We'll fly through this pretty quickly. It's just to give you an idea of what the gallery looks like, and give you an idea of kind of where my strengths and weaknesses are possibly. So in-season cards, first of all, I've got 46 in-season rare and I've got 45 classic rare. Now I do have a few more cards, but these are the ones that I can rely on, that are getting minutes and that have, good points potential. Some of the others are maybe on the transfer list, waiting to be sold, or they're just not playing, or they're injured and stuff like that. So this will change over the next couple of weeks and months. So first up, top of the list, highest average score, Xherdan Shaqiri, probably my best ever Sorare purchase for £8 about a month ago. Yeah, £8. Look at those scores, absolutely flying. He's a very strong captaincy candidate quite often in my in-season team. So glad to have picked him up. I've got Usami here. Now there's a few players, J-League, K-League, you've got Norwegian guys. Seasons are coming to an end. You've got Argentina, Mexico as well. So you'll notice as I scroll through here, some cards are on sale. If I get them sold, great. If I don't, I will just keep them and use them as classic cards in the next, J League, K League season, for example. Usami's a good example. I don't mind keeping, really good scorers, and Usami's certainly one of those. You see a snapshot of his points there recently. So he has served me well. If I can get rid of him, I will, for a price I'm happy with, and if not, he'll just sit there for a couple of months and go into the training lineups. I mentioned Zealer. I won him for winning Division 4. I sold him right away for about 75 quid. Missed out on a lot of good game weeks from him and brought him back recently for £82.50. So paid a little bit more than what I sold him for. But again, another very reliable goalkeeper on the platform. So good to have him back. My goalkeepers were kind of a weak area in my squad. So as you'll see, I've picked up a few strong ones, which will hopefully serve me well. Halstenberg comes in to go alongside Zealer for that defensive stack. I think he's been taking penalties and stuff like that recently. He's got 2 100s in the last 5 or 6 game weeks, so picked him up just 9 days ago as well. My most recent purchases, I bought a few Zagreb boys last night. Raul Torrente, who's been performing very well. He's under 23 as well. I've got one under 23 lineup. It's fallen all the way to Division 4 now, but I do want to improve on my under 23 team. So I like buying players that are not just contender, but also fit into that under 23 lineup. Torrente ticks that box, scoring well recently, seems to be pretty secure at centre back for Dynamo Zagreb. Got him an instant buy for £21, and that seemed like a good price to me. He's been going for 30, 37 not that long ago. So international break's always a good time to pick up a few players. Elsewhere, let me just double check you can see all of these while I'm scrolling down. Again, I've got Marcus Matheson, a recent purchase. I've got Dominic Ryman, and I've got Haber as well. As I did have those two as a defensive stack, but Matheson has actually been scoring better than Haber, as you can see there. So I've brought him in, and he'll probably be played alongside my goalkeeper Ryman now quite often. Jimmy McGrath had a very strong start to the season. A couple of injury issues recently. He's had minor facial surgery during the break, but he should be back soon. And again, I think I got him at a good price. 24 quid for a card that I'm going to be using all season. Decent collection bonus on him at 2% as well. So I've got him up to 10%, which is very handy. Picked up Elhan Kuri as well, another Magdeburg player, so there's a bit of a theme here. They've got a couple of good fixtures coming up, and again, hopefully he will be useful. Mamadou Sangare was on my watch list for quite a while. I was very, very close to buying a classic Sangare for about 50 quid a couple of weeks ago, and I'm glad I didn't, because I managed to get an in-season for 55. He got a red card recently, and that was my light bulb moment. Go and get him now while he's suspended, when his price will dip a little bit. So Sangare at Rapid Vienna is another very good contender midfielder. Also under 23 if I want to use him in that lineup. Rakitic is here as well. Only bought him a day ago. I was close to buying him for the Croatia special a couple of weeks ago, but he was very pricey at that point. Again, having a good season, taking lots of set pieces. Hajduk Split are top of the Croatian league, I'm pretty sure. So they've started the season very well. So as you can see there, Rakitic back in October was up at 60, 65 quid. Now I've picked him up for 38. So again, a player who's going to be very important for me for the rest of this season. Scrolling down here a little bit further, I've picked up Galasic recently as well from Croatia. Plays for Rijeka. Can score well, and again, under 23 also. Another very good purchase, if I do say so myself, at the start of the season was I picked up Papa Misa Ba from Grenoble for about a fiver? £7.60. And as you can see there, he jumped up to 35 quid. Went on a very hot streak, as you can see there. Scored, 4 goals in a row, 4 games in a row, and even going back further. Dipped off a little bit. He was suspended for the most recent fixture. But again, a player who hopefully will continue to produce the goods. Again, he's on the market. If I can get a good price for him, I'll let him go. Take a bit of profit and move elsewhere. Lucas Fernandez is in the same boat as Usami. Season's coming to an end. Don't mind losing him. But again, a good classic card for next season if I don't manage to sell. Karaman, good striker in the Bundesliga 2 as well. Only got him last week. Put him into my top lineup and he got himself a goal. So hopefully more of that to come as well. Branimir Hrgoza, another very recent purchase in the last 24 hours. This guy doesn't have amazing scores, but he does put up some good AA all around scores. So when he does get on the score sheet or get an assist, you're looking at scores in the 80s. Doesn't play for the best team, but again, pretty useful to have alongside these guys like Keenan Karaman, Pape Ba. Just play the fixtures and hopefully will be rewarded that way. Elsewhere here, Lennon Miller, possibly my favourite player. This guy is going straight to the top. He is an unbelievable 18-year-old, really, really good player, and scoring very well on Sorare this season as well because he's taken set pieces, he's taken penalties, so he's very much the talisman. And I'm pretty sure he might have got the captain's armband from Motherwell recently at just 18 years old as well. Not a permanent armband, but in a fixture. So Lennon Miller, I've got him up at 10% as well, so he's very, very useful. Isak Bergman Johansson at, where's he? Hanover? Yeah, pretty sure it's Hanover. No, Dusseldorf. Always get mixed up with those two teams. He has been keeping Appelkamp out of the team at points this season. I did have Appelkamp originally. I might actually still have him listed on the market. But the Icelandic Johannesson has been commanding set pieces and performing very well, so rare-wise as well. So another good pickup that I paid 18 quid for. Perpich was just bought this week as well. Injured recently, but as you can see, scored 96 twice before that injury. And got him at a cut price of £12. So I expect that to rise when he's back. But more importantly, hopefully Split continue to perform well and we can use him in lineups. Matthias Taferner I bought for the Austrian special a couple of weeks ago. He ended up scoring for me in that game week. So instantly fell in love. I mean, look at that hair for a start. So he stayed in the gallery and again takes set pieces, doesn't play for the best team, but puts up some good scores and can put up some good AA as well, as you can see there in the last two fixtures. So again, under 23 as well. So I'll be using him in that lineup from time to time. Broholm, very talented player at Rosenborg, but again, season coming to an end, so I might let him go. Who else is here? Luke McCowan went from Dundee to Celtic. Had him when he was at Dundee. Loved watching him. Great player. Doesn't get as many minutes, obviously, at Celtic, but a good player to have in the gallery when we can predict the Celtic lineup, which is not very easy to do this season. Aquino, again, another good scorer on Sorare, but season almost over. And you can see the same theme there. Zimmerman has not been scoring well recently, but I owned a classic of his maybe 6 months ago, and I'm hoping he can get back to previous levels. He was only about 20 quid this time for in-season, praised for a good side in the Bundesliga 2. Has been, I think, maybe a change of role for him. He's kind of been going between right back and maybe defensive midfield, so that's obviously impacted his scoring. But again, I feel like it's a buy low situation. Hopefully the points improve. Can maybe double my money on him in a sale in a couple of weeks' time or a couple of months' time, or more importantly, or hopefully starts to score well and becomes an important part of the in-season lineups. Frankie Kent I've had for quite a while, but he's not really doing the business. Hearts haven't been having a very good season. As you can see, their scores are not as good as they have been in previous times, so happy to let him go. Junior Hoylett, I only got him recently, but I'm not really sure if I want to keep him. He's a good, so rare player, but the problem is Hibs are a bit of a mess at the moment, so maybe if there was a managerial change there, I'd probably take him off the market, but at the moment, quite happy to get my money back if I can. Will Ferry, again, another very attacking fullback in the Scottish Premiership, but usually doesn't make it into my, 3 lineups, so I'm probably going to let him go. Can play under 23 as well, but I've got quite a few under 23 defenders. Baumgartner, not doing as well as he has done in previous times either, kind of similar to Zimmerman, but going to keep the faith and hope he returns to previous scores. Haber, who I mentioned, Haber's doing okay, but there's no scores over 72 there. Whereas Matheson has shown that he can do that. So I'm probably going to keep Haber. Got him at 11% now. So, but again, Matheson and Ryman probably going to be the stack that I use, and I could even use all three of them in certain matchups. There is Ryman. Brought him in as kind of one of my most important goalkeepers. Scores well on the platform. Not so good recently, but again, you can see going back further that he can do the business. So I've got him. I've got Zieler. I've got Nevestic, who we'll talk about soon. He's been a bit of a disaster. Armani has done well in recent times, but again, season almost over. Picked up Bruno Petkovic last night. He is injured at the moment, but I almost paid 30-40 quid for a classic card of his, again, a couple of weeks ago. Been a stop-start season for him so far. I couldn't resist 20 quid for an in-season. Again, I just hope that he will become very useful, if not in the next couple of game weeks, maybe around the Christmas period and into the new year. Zivzivzadze, what a name that is. Zivzivadze, Budu Zivzivzadze. That's probably the hardest one to say. I'm just going to stop trying. Again, he came in with Karaman last week because he had a good matchup. Put him into one of my top lineups and he got on the score sheet as well. I've got Oxborough, goalkeeper from Motherwell, Simon Murray. Murray's not having a great season, but again, he's kind of up and down there, but he's a very useful card to have. Nisbet again, injured recently, but I still expect long term Nisbet to be the number one striker at Aberdeen when he's 100%. Sockler's not really doing too much. You can see there, Nisbet came off the bench in the most recent fixture for about 15-20 minutes, I think it was, and got himself a 78 score with a goal and an assist. So that does his chances no harm. Getting further down the list now, players who are maybe not as important in my top lineups. Gavin Malloy, part of my Aberdeen stack. Bernardo, who doesn't always start for Celtic. Jesse Benet, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with him. He was in and out of the team a lot at the start of the season at Grenoble. Has not been scoring as well as he can. Take set pieces, but again, hopefully a bit of patience with him will pay off. There's Appelkamp, not getting starts because Johannesson is doing the business. But again, just keeping him as part of the collection bonus at 2%. And, if anything happens to Johannesson, it's probably good news then for Appelkamp, who would come in. Leighton Clarkson, again, struggling to get starts in a very good Aberdeen team, but a really, really good player. So we'll be keeping him for the long term. Just a few more here before we get to the classic. So Kimpioka, another very good striker in the Scottish Premiership, picked him up for £5.55. Didn't start the most recent fixture, but this guy's got goals in him. And again, just another useful piece to have. Likewise, Ronan Hale, very good striker, came over from the Irish League. Again, a benching recently, but another player who's got plenty of goals in him. These two, Kimpioka and Hale, very rarely go into my top lineup. They're probably going into the third lineup, that Division 4 team to try and get a few promotions. Shankland, probably the most disappointing card this season so far. Expect a lot more from Shanks, and hopefully that happens soon. Again, no plans to sell. Laidlaw, another Scottish Premiership goalkeeper. Special edition Balcom, who I've had for quite a while, near the start of the season, so he's up at 11% now. Not scoring very well, but he is a good goalkeeper. Better scores in the last 2 games. St. Mirren should keep more clean sheets than they have been doing, so I still think he's a good hold. And then Nevestic, bit of a disaster purchase. I bought him because I've got a lot of classic Celtic cards and I needed a goalkeeper for those Champions League nights and wasn't going to pay 400 quid for Kasper Schmeichel. So I went for Nevestic instead, but I think it's back issues he's had. So a lot of DNPs, I really need him to get fit and to start playing every week because, as you can see there, £131 is more than I usually spend on a player. The most I've ever spent on a player is Kyogo, who's my favourite player. And I've got a self-imposed rule of never spending more on a player than on Kyogo. Keeps me on the straight and narrow. So I really need Nevestic to come back and to start performing. So that's a quick run through of the in-season cards. Let's now have an even quicker look at the classic. So I've got a classic Shankland as well. Barazatic has been injured for ages. Kind of picked him up hoping he'd get back to previous levels. Spent 23 quid, have him listed for 18. If I can get rid of him, I will. Craig Gordon I've had for about a year. Thankfully he's playing again now. I had to wait a long time to be able to start using him again, but it's good to be able to do so. Anamita, Celtic striker, rotates a little bit with Kyogo, so it's good to have both of them. Who else is here? Antonio Dakovic is my only under 23 goalkeeper. So I bought him 3 months ago. I've used him every week with my under 23s. But as you can see here, look at those last 5 scores: 21, 10, 47 and 16. He can score well, but he's very, very inconsistent. So I probably need to look at adding a second under 23 goalkeeper and maybe pair them off based on fixture matchups. So more importantly, who are my best classic cards? Number 1 is Ezequiel Barco. I only bought him recently. I spent 99 quid on him 22 days ago. So I've had a few games from him. And as you can see, as you all know, unbelievable scorer. I can see 4 100s there. So I captain him. Usually what I do is I throw classic Barco into an in-season team and he's the captain usually. So Russia do have a break coming up for the winter. So I might jump off him for a while. As you can see, I don't have too much transfer budget at the moment. I've only got 27 quid to spend. So I'm looking to free up some money from players like Barco, who I don't like having a player for 2 months or whatever it is who can't get me anything. So I'll happily sell him, even if it's for a bit of a loss, and then get him back when the Russian league resumes. Fabian Rees I've had for a while now, about a month. 54 quid spent, have him listed for 65, which I think is the cheapest on the market. Again, just feel like I'm waiting forever for him to get fit, and I feel like I don't need him because I've got plenty of classic forwards who can score well. Cecchini, for example, even though his season's coming to an end, does have an injury at the moment, but might make it back for the last game. Maybe there's 2 games left, I'm not sure how many. But he's been in the gallery for 7 months and he's going nowhere. Hopefully he gets another couple of seasons, at least one more season, so he can be another strong captain. So rare-wise, Alistair Johnson, again, in the gallery for a long time. Have him up at level 15, 10.5% collection bonus. One of the best contender cards out there, as you probably know. And as a Celtics fan, it's always nice to chuck him in and give him the captain's armband. Johnston often goes into my in-season lineups as well as the smasher classic element. Carter Vickers, likewise, but too many injuries is the problem with him. Who else have we got here? Lavadia, a recent purchase. Again, Hadjic split. So I've got Rakitic, Perpic. I've got Lavadia as well, who is a very good scorer. Dominic Fitz. Very happy with the price I paid for Fitz 2 months ago. 45 quid. Really good, consistent scorer on the platform. Again, Austria have that break coming up as well. But I think Fitz will be one that just stays in the gallery long term. And then we'll use him when he's back. Inigo Vicente, who I remember buying for myself on my birthday. I wanted him for ages, so I treated myself to an Inigo Vicente, Racing Santander, who are running away at the top of the second league in Spain. He is their talisman, so really useful in the gallery as well. Foremost Mendy, I've had him quite a few times over the last 2 years, mainly in limited, but he's back in the French second division now, and we all know how well he can score when he's on it. Very frustrating DNP 2 weeks ago because he was in my top lineup, and that kind of came out of nowhere. But again, a long-term play. Nicholas Kuhn, probably Celtic's best player this season, scoring extremely well on Sorare as well. He's a very important part of my classic lineups. He doesn't often make it into the in-season lineups, but he's obviously goes into the Celtic stack most weeks. Mustafa Mbao is a very good scoring defender at Paris FC. As you can see there, he's Mr. Consistent. Liam Scales, finally got him 10 days ago because he dropped in price big time because Trusty's been playing. But I like having all 3 Celtic centre-backs. I've got Carter Vickers, Scales and Trusty. Carter Vickers will always have injury issues. And it's becoming easier, I think, to predict which centre-backs are going to play for Celtic at certain times. So it's good to have Scales part of the gallery now. Julian Green, another good scorer in the Contender division. Again, only picked him up recently for about 20 quid. So yeah, like I say, I feel like the gallery's in good shape now. I feel like I've got a good spread of options across in-season and classic. So hopefully that first win in August will soon become a second win towards the end of November, or if not, in December. Noah Duceni, good scorer in the Swiss League. I think he takes penalties as well. Greg Taylor, I've had for ages. Hakon Evjen, very good player at Bodo Glimt in Norway. Again, I've got, he's at level 15, so I'll just hold him through the Norwegian break and then use him again next season or during the summer next year when there's no, when there's no Scottish Premiership and stuff like that. Bradley Danger, good score on the platform, but injured again. Isaac Lidberg, I just had to buy him. Don't know much about him, but the scores recently are crazy. What's that? In the last 7 games, he has, is that 8 goals and 3 assists? So yeah, I wasn't going to pay out for his end season because it's quite pricey. So picked him up for 25 quid as a classic. There's Austin Trusty, had him for 3 months. Not in the Celtic shirt, but that doesn't matter to me. As long as he gets the points, that's all that matters. Sho Sasaki, obviously a cult hero on Sorare, and I couldn't resist buying him when not too long after I started taking the game more seriously. Again, probably my second most expensive ever purchase behind Kyogo. So again, I'll probably just hold him and hopefully we get another good season out of him in the J League next year. Another Paris FC player, Ilan Cabal, who's again a bit of a smasher on his day, can get very high scores. So again, he often sneaks into my in-season lineups as a captain when he's got a good matchup. Cherny's here from Rangers. Again, doesn't really often make it into my lineup, so he might leave again soon. Baturina, another Zagreb player. I had Baturina's in-season cards until about a month ago. Sold it for about 80 quid, and I've picked up the classic now for 40. There's some players that sometimes are just more comfortable having their classic than their in-season. And I don't like having too much money invested in one player, especially a player like Baturina who's definitely going to move at the end of this season, and that could have a negative impact on his Sorare score. So I'm more comfortable having his classic card for half the price than his in-season. Enzo Leopold, again, set pieces at Hanover. Got some good fixtures coming up, can score well, and is under 23, so that was a recent purchase as well. Santi Cazorla, what a legend. He's still doing it in Spain. 38 years old, might even be 39 years old now. Still scores well, takes set pieces, only costs 750. I love the Spanish second division because they play during international breaks. I've got a line about this weekend with Santi Cazorla in it, Inigo Vicente. I think I've got 3 Levante players as well. So it's nice to have those during an international break because I don't really play the international Sorare tournaments. Yeah, I'll get through this a bit quicker now. Ronnie Valdo, I feel like every time I look at the Austrian league on my live score app, I check the scores and it always seems like Ronnie Valdo scores. And as you can see there, he's having a very good season. 34, 35 years old. Not going to score you 100 points, but very useful. And to be honest, I just like his name. Ronnie Valdo. And one of the best names out there in world football. So I had to bring him in. He's only 8 quid. And again, he's not going to be in my top lineups, but those teams that are fighting for promotion, he's always useful. Blair Spittle, I've got at level 17. I've had him for quite a while, playing much better for Hearts now and getting more minutes. Masiello, cheap defender in the Italian second division, scores well, 3 quid. Had him before he got injured, and now I have brought him back. Just a bit of a depth piece. Rio Hatate at level 16. Salinger I've had for ages, level 16 as well, another goalkeeper option. Martinez scores well at Levante, takes set pieces as well. Where's his recent scores? He's a bit hot and cold, but in a good fixture. He's always someone I look to use, and I'm using him this weekend in that home game. Mats Moller Daly, again, will probably hold him through until the next Norwegian season. Kjaergaard, again, I've got a love-hate relationship with him. If you've watched my previous videos, there was a stinger with him where I missed out on making a very tidy profit on a sale, haggled for about £3 or £4 extra and lost it, and then he got injured. Probably just going to cut ties with him because he seems to never be fit, and just get someone else more reliable. Butcher is my current under 23 forward of choice, but he's not scoring particularly well. Does take set pieces, playing for Bastia, I'm pretty sure. Just another useful piece that didn't cost too much. Mitov, one of my most important goalkeepers, playing for a very good Aberdeen side. I'm actually using Mitov in that lineup with the Spanish guys this weekend. Mitov should play twice for Bulgaria in a double game week. Arnie Engels, superstar at Celtic. I bought him for, what did I spend? 79 quid. Bought him from Mr. Tony Watt, which is, I always find that bizarre. I messaged a former Celtic player on Discord to buy his Celtic player on Sorare. That is the beauty of this game that we play. Tony obviously made a tidy profit on that one. You'll see there that he's listed. I'm just not convinced. Certainly his classic card is worth what I paid for him. There's a lot of rotation in the Celtic midfield. There's no doubt when Engels starts, he's going to score well. But I think there's going to be too many frustrating game weeks, and we're seeing that already in his scores there. So I'm looking to move away from Engels, let his price hopefully come down a bit, and then maybe go back, with 40 quid or 50 quid at a later date. So I think I could be more. I think I could do more with 70 or 80 quid if I sell them. I could buy 2 or 3 players for that, maybe even in-season players. So yeah, looking to sell Arnie Engels if any of you are interested. A couple of others, Ki Sung Young, been injured forever, comes back just when the season's about to finish, but I'll just keep him because he's level 17. Bajrami, similar to Cherny, Rangers players, don't really want to own them. Not going to make it into my top lineups very often. I do think Bajrami is probably the best of the Rangers midfielders for Sorare, but again, probably not near the top of my gallery strength. Fernandez, cheap goalkeeper in Spain. Kyogo, there he is, level 20. My most expensive card, my only level 20. Number 23, which is my favourite number because my son was born on the 2nd of March, so 2-3. I like the number 23. So yeah, Kyogo obviously doesn't always score very well. I used to fall into the trap of putting him into my top lineups too often, but I've quickly learned that players, Dominic Fitz, Cecilia, these guys are much better. Got to play with a head instead of the heart if we want to win with this game, and I've already done those ones. So that's just a quick, I say quick, it probably wasn't that quick, but there's a run through of the gallery. I'll quickly show you my non-contender contingent, which is I've got 3 in-season Premier League lineups. The first one is, I call it 5 guys because it is literally 5 guys, and I play them in the same lineup every week, taking them from Division 5, hopefully all the way to Division 1. I've got Mohamed Salah, Brian Mbeumo, Leif Davis, Yuri Tielemans, and Mark Fleck. And I think they're currently in Division 3. Tielemans was initially Eze from Crystal Palace. So Eze got injured, sold him, and picked up Yuri Tielemans. Usually captain Salah or Mbeumo in that lineup. I've also got a Newcastle stack, which is Pope, Hall, Gordon, Isak, and Bruno Guimaraes. Again, just trying to get them from Division 5 to Division 1. I think they're also, maybe they're in Division 4 at the moment. 4 in seasons. And then Bruno Guimaraes is the classic card. And finally, Wolves, who've actually been performing best for me. They've gone from Division 5 to Division 3. I've got Jose Sa, picked him up for a tenner when he got back in the team. 8 Nuri, Strand Larson, Mario Lamina, and then the classic card is Cunha. Pick Cunha up for a £5. Surely he's worth more than that now. After recent performances, yeah, could double my money on him if I wanted to, but that is not going to happen because he is my captain most weeks in that lineup. So there you have it, folks. A bit of a gallery update. It feels like it's in a good place now. Like I said, it feels like it's been slowly building for 2 years, and now is the time where I really want to start attacking these divisions, starting to get podiums. I've only got the 1 victory so far in 2 years, but I think I'm in a better position now to get a few more. Really enjoying the game. Looking forward to this international break being over and then having a really good run at it for the next 3 or 4 months until we have another international break, and hopefully win as many cards and, more importantly, cash as possible. Any cash I do win, I will be reinvesting into the squad to make it stronger. And like I said, no plans to invest anymore. I'm content with what I've put in now, and it's all about trying to make it back now for the rest of this season and probably into the next one as well. I will leave it there. Make sure you hit subscribe for future videos. Hit like. If you can give this a share for me on social media, whether it's on X or Blue Sky or wherever, it's very much appreciated. Like I said, I'm going to come back next week with hopefully 2 more videos. One will be the watch list, which will be shorter than this one. I've got about 15 players on the watch list, which I'll talk you through, players that I would like to buy in the near future. And then probably Wednesday or Thursday, we will do some lineup building for those 5 Division 1 lineups and also the under 23. I might actually, let me just before I go, I think I might have put the under 23 team together already. So nothing built up here. Yeah, let's just have a quick look at this one. So this is likely to be my under 23 lineup. Like I said, it's dropped to Division 4, but one of my new goals now is to get this team to Division 1 as quickly as possible. I might need to improve it with a few purchases. For example, a stronger forward, I think, is important. So I've got Butra up front at the moment, 2 midfielders into Ferner and Enzo Leopold. All of these guys have good home fixtures. I think they're all home fixtures. Yeah. Sibanek have a good fixture as well. And foremost, Mendy will probably get the captain's armband in this one. So next week when I'm doing the lineup builder, I'll show you how I build my lineups, because there's a couple of different resources I use. Sorare Lineup Builder, and more recently I subscribed to Sorare Probabilities. I signed up to the Rivals file first of all, and that helped me get to Division 1 and stay there. So that gave me the confidence to go and get the Sorare Probabilities kind of spreadsheet for my team, and that really helps me to kind of prioritize teams and lineups and players. So I'll walk you through all of that next week in that video. So I'll leave it there for this one. Like I said, make sure you hit subscribe and the like button. I think that's what you're supposed to say on YouTube. And I'll talk to you all again very soon. Leave a comment as well. Any comments you have about my gallery, anyone I should sell, anyone I should buy, any comments you have, any feedback, any videos you would like to see in the future, I will read all the comments and try and get back to you as well. Have a good weekend, folks, and I'll talk to you again next week.